customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. What if you had access to the secrets world-class companies know that enable them to deliver a consistently great customer experience? The DiJulius Group believes some secrets are better shared. That's why we created a framework that divulges what world-class companies know in a simple, easy-to-follow system. Get access now by enrolling in the Customer Experience Executive Academy. Visit cxea.org or email Claudia@thedijuliusgroup.com for more information.
Welcome back, revolutionaries. Today, I am talking to Debi Bush, Customer Experience Officer, CXO, at Technology Marketing Toolkit, also known as TMT. Debi has revolutionized the experience TMT delivers to their clients, members. Debi is a distinguished Customer Experience Executive Academy graduate 2022. She's not only helped take TMT to a world-class level of client member experience, but she's also championed world-class customer experience training certification for their clients. 280 of their clients. She has created a training, an accountability group, which is really unique. So I'm so excited to have you, Debi. Welcome.
Hey, I'm excited to be here, John.
Yeah, Debi, I mean, there's so much to talk to you about. And one of the things I really love that you do and that I notice is you are a sponge. I mean, you really are. I mean, everything we do, you're at, or you're on. Every webinar we're doing, you're on. And I just really love that you just, do not stop learning. And I know you do other things, but just, if we have anything, you're on it.
Well, I do my best. And I know from my, 8.5 years at TMT, which we used to call Technology Marketing Toolkit, but we listened to our members who were always calling us TMT. It's like, okay, let's give it up. But we're always about lifelong learning and reinforcement, and there's content that we give to our members and internally that you just can't hear enough. So the same with your webinars, even though I went through the academy now a couple of years ago, it's like, wow, the reinforcement, you just don't catch everything. Just like with a movie, the second time you see it, third time you catch something new and reminds you of something.
Yeah. And let's tell our listeners, our revolutionaries, really what Technology Marketing Toolkit, TMT, does. You're out of Nashville.
Yes.
For my listeners, go back and listen. And I'll put it in the show notes. I interviewed Robin Robbins, founder of TMT, and just one of the most inspirational CEO presidents. She's a badass. I mean, she is a badass. She probably makes me look, like her energy. I mean, she brings it. So, tell our listeners what TMT does.
Okay. So TMT we're up to our 22nd year in business, and we're a marketing firm that gives IT business owners a proven step-by-step marketing plan so they can finally start attracting more profitable and appreciative clients who value IT. It tends to be on the B2B more, right? We're not dealing with consumers, we're dealing
Right.
with IT services firms globally, predominantly in North America, but we have clients, customers, members all
Yeah.
over the globe, and how to help them grow their business, and not just for marketing, actually. We do it operational sales. Robin, she'll say she loves sales more than marketing, but she's just, so you would say, a badass at the copywriting and marketing and sales. So it's grown tremendously over the years with my history with them as a former customer member, and 8.5 years in at TMT on the really client support side, and that's evolved.
And so, if I'm a law firm, I can't hire TMT, right? If I'm an accounting firm, I can't hire TMT. You guys are only niched for IT companies, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I love
Correct.
that. No,
IT technology, it tends to
technology.
be what is known in our world, our lexicon, as managed service providers or MSPs, but not all of them are. That's our core, niche.
And managed service providers are what?
So they take care and protect the network, the security, the compliance, all those different elements for businesses, whether they're the sole outsourced IT technology support, or a lot of our members also have what we call co-managed. So they work with larger organizations that have some internal IT, but those people just can't handle it by
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
One person can't know all these different areas. So they leverage our clients to help them do the best they can.
Okay, so your primary customer or customer is
Uh-huh.
IT companies.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You don't call them customers, you call them members. Is that correct?
Yes, we have different levels of
And
membership
why do we call
in
them
our,
members?
well, because they are customers, of course, they're always
Yeah, yeah.
customers. And we've had since early on, probably since at least 2007, some levels of membership. So there's certain benefits and content that they get with the different levels, the different tiers of membership. Currently, we have 4 levels of membership, and the ones that I work with primarily for customer experience are producers club members,
Which is your
which are
highest?
our elite level
Yeah,
of
that's like a
membership.
platinum level and other circles.
Absolutely.
So your producers club, but you have 4 levels.
Yes.
So if I am an IT company, I can't just use TMT as a one-off and say, hey, I want to pay for you guys one time to create this marketing program. I correct me if I'm wrong. I have to become a member and at a certain level, and there's certain things I get, right?
Yeah, and certain companies, depending where they are in their business journey, will fit, we'll determine with them where is the best fit, at least the best starting
And a
place.
lot of times they grow and they grow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right, right, right.
They ascend. Now, Producers Club is an invitation only, so you can't. It used to be you could go straight into it, but with all our levels of membership and always refining, making things more excellent, for our members and understanding their world better, it's invitation only for our Producers Club members. So you have to be in a different membership, kind of earn your way there by
Yeah.
proving yourself and the marketing and your engagement, and then we'll say, we'd love to have you in Producers Club.
No, here's the really impressive thing. I think it's been 3 years, maybe,
Yeah,
since
almost.
you guys hired me initially to speak at one of your conferences, and your members, all your members, are just ravenous fans. I mean,
Yes.
they love you guys, and which it's like, all right, well, then why did Robin feel the need to promote Debi to the CXO position and send her to the academy? But like I tell so many, if you see our client list, it's not who you think. It's not Spirit Airlines. It's not the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. It's the Ritz-Carlton, Chick-fil-A's of the world and TMT. You're already obsessed. And what I love is that, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but even like for Producers Club, you are always making sure they get so much value that far and away exceeds their membership, which is the cost that they pay. But take me back to 3.5 years ago. What was Robin's rationale of promoting you to CXO and sending you to this academy, our academy?
Yeah, so just to give a little background, so TMT has grown rapidly, and with that growth comes a greater need to support and wow, right? We use the Disney wow, whatever. Our internal and external customers, external customers being our members, internal meaning my colleagues at TMT. So when I started at TMT, closing in on 9 years ago, there were 18 of us, John, 18, right? We could sit around the table. I mean, I would fly into Nashville from Denver and we could sit around at lunch together. That doesn't happen anymore. We're at like over 130 people on the TMT team, primarily out of Nashville, but we also have other areas of the country where we have remote workers. I mean, thankful for technology, right? Yeah. And so with the expansion of our services, our offerings, our team, the timing seemed to be right to add that CXO, that customer experience service person who can focus on that. It may not be the sole focus, and it's not my sole focus at TMT, to do that. And I'll tell you a funny thing. So you spoke on a Friday at our Producers Club meeting, and I was watching intermittently.
The first time back in Austin?
The first time in Austin.
Yeah.
January 2022.
And Robin wasn't there because she had COVID.
Don't remind her about that, John.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know anything about you guys enough yet. And I'm like, who's this Robin? And everyone's talking about Robin. I didn't, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's Robin. Robin's not Robin Roberts, who's on GMA. So, big difference. So when you spoke, and I caught some of it, that following Monday, 3 days later, our COO, Nicole, messaged me. She said, do you have a minute? So you always know at TMT when someone says, do you have a minute? Something's going on.
Yeah.
And she said, did you watch John's presentation? And I said, well, I caught some of it.
Were you there in Austin live?
No, I was.
You were streaming in.
Yeah.
That was still coming out of like the pandemic where it was a hybrid of in-person and virtual.
Well, for years, we've always live streamed our producers.
Okay.
Meetings. Obviously, with your events, in person is the most impactful for a lot of different reasons, but we've always given that option to people. And like I said, we also have people around the globe. We do have people who fly in for Producers Club meetings from the UK, Australia, that type of thing. But that's a big investment of time. So on that Monday, Nicole spoke with me and she said, well, did you watch it? And she said, Robin wants you to be the CXO. I mean, what an honor.
Yeah. What a compliment.
What a compliment.
Especially because you're the first. It's not, what's really, and a lot of our listeners are, or could be, is, if they said, we want you to be the CMO, right? Obviously your skill set, or the CFO, or anything, the chief,
CIO or CTO or anything.
Right. Well, there's that's, already been had. So you have something to follow. When you're the CXO, you're the first, you're the pioneer. You have to create it. It's not like you're coming in and it's being handed, here's what we've always done. So that's such a compliment because, there's risk on both ends.
There is, and there's a lot of expectations. And because we do things so fast, very fast pace at TMT.
Yeah.
Nothing bad.
You guys are a shoot and then aim.
Pardon?
I don't know if you've ever heard that, the old expression is, aim and then shoot. You guys
Oh,
shoot and then
yeah,
aim. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So with that, I mean, I think after that Monday, within a week, I was talking with Claudia on your team and signing up for the academy. The timing, the stars were aligned for the
yeah,
timing because
yeah,
the next month I was in Cleveland and learned about ice storms. I
yeah,
had forgotten about that. But
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, that year with the academy was really like going through a master's course. I mean, I've done a master's before decades ago,
Right.
but this was something in the in person, once again, like any event or training, you can't always do it, but I could tell the impact of and the camaraderie with my classmates that I still carry on with
Yeah.
some of them to, today. So
I always say that's the best thing about the academy, better than learning from, the DiJulius Group consultants, is the camaraderie and kind of the advisory board of each other.
yeah.
And that, it's nice because it could be a lonely world in customer experience because there's not thousands of people doing it out there. So when you find some other people that are doing the similar role that you are, it's nice to have that.
People don't come out of college with a CXO degree. That's why the Customer Experience Executive Academy was created. When you're tasked with designing, leading, and managing the customer's experience, there's a lot at stake. We know you want to make a difference in your organization, and we also know how difficult it is to do that when you aren't sure what to tackle first. The Customer Experience Executive Academy gives enrollees the tools to efficiently create an impact as a customer experience leader. Our graduates are taught a simple framework that allows them to create customized solutions within their business. You'll implement systems throughout the year-long program while learning and sharing best practices with your fellow classmates. For details on how you can enroll, contact Claudia at thedijuliusgroup.com or schedule a call at tdg.click/Claudia.
And I think it's also great to understand that, customer service, customer experience isn't industry specific. I
Right.
mean, you may do things differently, but I mean, we had Key Bank, right? We had Victor in the class. We had the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police
Police
Department,
department.
which is
Yeah.
like still so cool. And whenever
Yeah.
our members that we have in the Charlotte area, I make sure I tell them about it
Yeah.
because you just don't think about that. And all size businesses. So
Right.
it brings reality. It's
But
like
everyone's struggling with the same thing. And that
it
was going to be
is.
my next question is, the two biggest things we tell a CXO that they need for the project to be successful is they need senior executive buy-in.
Mhm.
You kind of had that. I mean, Robin and Nicole
Uh-huh.
tell you.
And
Uh,
Jeff, yep.
and Jeff, yeah. Uh, However, what advice can you give? Because if you don't have their buy-in, uh, it is becomes flavor of the month, program of the year, managed by bestsellers. So I know you're blessed because Robin doesn't do anything half-assed. If you're
Correct.
doing it, you're doing it.
You do it 110%,
Yes,
that
yes.
type of
But
expectation.
there might be sometimes, you
Yeah.
have to nudge them and say, "Hey, let's, get." So, what advice would you give a CXO or a project lead to keep the CEO, COO, all them, that making the experience, internal or external, a priority in the company, and then it's not just over because we did this, in 2022.
It's definitely a challenge. I mean, I've learned this as, emerging CXO, and I still consider myself emerging, just because we do wear a lot of hats, many of us at TMT. The senior buy-in, the exec team buy-in, like you said, Robin and our exec team, I mean, they made a big investment in me
Yeah,
to just go through the academy. So,
yeah,
and then I was working on things, but what we did was because we go so fast at TMT, and we have our membership, and we have our services, and we have our events. There's just a lot of demand on everyone. So what I did was I put together a task force. I don't like the word committee, never have, and of colleagues from our different divisions, right? Because by putting them together, they know what's going on in their world. Because sometimes you can be
Were they leaders, all leaders, or were
not
some
all leaders.
Okay.
No, and I
So
wanted
you're actually going into my next question, which is great. Of the two things you got to have, or the project besides a rock star at the CXO, is senior executive commitment buy-in, and then you have to have each department buy-in. And so you're rolling right into that. So that's what I want to know. Go on and explain that it doesn't have to be, or it shouldn't just be, leaders from each department.
You don't want it to just be leaders. I mean, if I look at my task force that I created over 2 years ago, it's people with different tenures at TMT, in different roles, have been in different roles with evolution of TMT.
So why is that important, that it's not just leaders from departments?
Well, I mean, I've noticed this, well, not personally, because my grown kids are, the kids, but I also headed up the district for Rotary International here in Colorado for membership. So you have to get down to the people doing the work. Not that the exec team doesn't do the work, but it's a different type of work that we then do. And we need that input from the membership, from the different people in the different levels. We have different age groups represented on the TMTX. I'm at the senior level of that. I mean, we have people, in their late 20s, early 30s on our team. So it gives you that perspective. They've moved around, maybe some within the company. So you're seeing that. It's just, I think, really important that's why I expanded it to amongst the divisions.
Yeah.
Because I don't know everything that's going on.
And that,
I need their feet on the...
Leaders maybe haven't done that job in a while.
Yeah.
And, sometimes, and it's not untrue in my businesses too. They're like, what does John know? He hasn't done this ever, or in 10, 15, 20 years. And he's, redeveloping our, and so you need that buy-in, but they have a great perspective of what works and what doesn't work.
Well, it's kind of the boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Aspect of it. And also when you talk about that, Robin's really big about, like, when we have speakers come in, they're speakers that just haven't written books and are seen as that authority, but they're people who have actually practiced what they preach. And so that's a good thing. We're preaching, at least right now, to our Producers Club members about the customer experience, how impactful and differentiating it can be. And we're working to practice it internally as well.
Yeah. So what, for TMT wise, before we get to what you've done, that's really cool for your client members. What have you accomplished? How have you moved the needle to say in 2024, the end of 2024, TMT is significantly better than before Debi and this all got started?
Yeah. So I've thought about that in preparing for this podcast. So first off, we had our full day workshop, and this isn't just in 2024. We had it in early 2023. And we were following what you taught us about the client experience cycle, or the CEC. So I brought together my task force, and we were all in person there in Nashville, and technically Brentwood, but Nashville. And we spent a whole day, and we had 2 people from our exec team as part of that, which made a world of difference, because they may have heard about some of this stuff, or probably not, but going through the CEC exercise, it's like, okay, I get it now. I understand the impact of putting together this experience cycle, and we could have it for different things, like when we're introducing a new product or service, working on that, or looking at events, because we feel we do a really, really good job at delivering our service and content and the experience, but we never settle for that.
Yeah.
Right.
And do
We
you have
always want to go
KPIs
above
that
and
you
beyond.
track? I'm sure it's member retention and member, I don't know what you would call it, upgrade.
Yeah,
Are those
upsell or
things?
ascension.
Yeah, because obviously, if you're creating TMT is creating great value, your retention rates are going to go up. And I'm going to see, I'm going to be jolly. You guys do such a good job of this at your conferences, but I'm like, oh, how do I get in Producers Club? How do I give pay TMT more, right? And which is great, but you guys create such value. So I'm assuming those are what we like to call return on experience KPIs.
Yeah, I mean, I even have people in the our accelerators club level, which is those people are aspiring to go into Producers Club. I have them come up to me sometimes and say, "Can I get the certification?" And
Yeah.
it's like, this is a benefit, exclusive benefit to our Producers Club members.
Yeah.
So there's one extra reason
Right. It's
to
like,
ascend.
for those that maybe a be American Express is like, God, I want to have the black card. I want
Yeah.
to spend $7,000 to $10,000 a year because that gets the, backdoor access to things. But this is where I want to switch gears, because this is, really where I think TMT has done something that I don't know too many businesses out there, at least we've ever worked with. So not only did you champion raising the level that TMT's experience they deliver to their members and internally to their team members, but you guys you champion helping your clients, your members, raise the experience they deliver to their clients. And I don't know if anybody's ever done this, and it's not just, hey, listen to this speaker. You have put a certification, an academy almost like we do, together for your clients, members, to attend, send their employees. So talk about that, because this is where I really think is unique. And this is what, when you make them better at customer experience, client experience, not only are they going to grow, but it's going to justify what they're spending, more than justify what they're spending. And so this is really what I want our audience to get from this. I love what you've done, but this is where I think the gold is.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I always like to say they're investing in their membership, but you don't want to look at it as a grudge buy, right? That term we use. So what we did, and it was, give credit to you and your team too, John. We did it in collaboration with the DiJulius Group.
We didn't think of it. We didn't come to you and say, hey, you thought of it, or you and Robin. So, this is, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So we created what we have named the World-Class Customer Experience Trained, or WCCXT for short.
We like acronyms at TMT.
I know, well, that's a long ass thing,
Yeah.
Certification. So it's exclusive to our Producers Club, our elite level members.
Your platinum level, in layman's term. Okay. So if I'm anything lower, my company can't participate in this. But, and let me ask you this. You didn't charge extra for this.
Correct.
Built in to what okay. So your platinum level, your Producers Club, which is platinum level, gets this certification. And what's that certification look like?
Well, so what it is, they don't get it just for being a member.
Right.
This is a it's a company-wide certification. This is not an individual, like in the IT world, people get Microsoft certifications and compliance thing and all different certifications, sometimes company, sometimes individual. This is company-wide, because having one person the owner or a leader at one of our member companies just go through the sessions, and how's that going to change or
Right.
add to their company culture,
Right.
right?
As
So
great
it's
as Robin is, if she's the only one that learns it, it's not practical for her to come back and implement it, right? You have to have, your team members do it
yes.
and buy in.
And it's not just sometimes when I first speak with a member when they're looking into going through the certification, they they say, "Oh, should my techs do it?" It's
Yeah.
like, no, because the techs are customer facing a lot, right?
Yeah.
Whether in person or virtually. It's like this is a whole staff thing because you don't want your team not knowing what some others of the team are talking about. If they're talking about, well, what's the day in the life, or what do you mean by negative cues or being a good listener? I'm a good
Zero
listener.
risk. Yeah.
What's
CEC. Yeah. All this
yeah, all
jargon.
of we're good with acronyms in the IT world.
Yeah, yeah, and so are
We're
we.
good.
Like it's a curse of knowledge. But if we just rattle off, you got to do the CEC and be zero risk.
Yeah.
They don't know what that means.
Yeah. So what we developed with in collaboration with you is it's 12 sessions, and we did it last year as live, so it was once a month. But now the beauty is that on our member portal, we call it the dashboard, for our Producers Club members, they can see, now that the live ones are done, they can actually fast track it. So the people who started with the live ones and it took them a year because they didn't have a choice. We've had companies go and start and do the training with their teams, and they figure out there's no one way to do it
Yeah.
because you have different setups and remote workers and multiple
And
offices.
remind me, Debbie, even though I was a part of it, is it 10 modules or 12?
12.
12.
So
We did it. Yeah,
we had
12.
one every month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
And
12
now,
months.
so if I am own John's IT services in
Uh-huh.
Cleveland, um, and I'm a Producers Club member of TMT. I have access to this, and I put my employees through it. And then how do you know I put my employees through it? And how do I, how are you sure that, before you give me the distinguished
Uh-huh.
certification that I can then put on my website to market to my clients that I have the same training as the Ritz-Carlton and Chick-fil-A.
I mean, how cool is that, right?
Yeah.
I joke with our members who are starting to go through it. It's like, yeah, you can talk with your clients, with your prospects, with potential new hires, saying, yeah,
Yes.
we are going through, or we went through and got certified this training with the DiJulius Group that, they work with small companies like Starbucks and Ritz-Carlton and things like that, right? Put a little spin on. But so what we do to help them make it a success, and it's really dependent on them. I'm here as a resource, a cheerleader, etc. But we get them to register as a company, and they assign one admin typically to administer it, to be in charge of it. So I give them ideas of what other companies have done, the cadence of the training. Some do it weekly, incorporated into their meetings, or bi-weekly. That's the most typical. So they have the sessions, and then they follow them with a discussion, kind of a thought-provoking discussion about the topics, because that's where the beauty of all
Yeah.
this comes from. Once again, is the discussion, and some people may not buy in right away, or some may say, "Ooh, I had this experience with client A, the other day when I was there." And so right away, they can even start identifying what they may already be doing in with respect to that topic, that session topic, or say, how can we make this a better experience for our clients? And so they go through the 12 sessions, and they do the quizzes or discussion. Some are watching it all together as a team, the recording. Some are saying, watch session 1, and we're going to have a discussion on it afterwards, and then they build on it. So they go through the 12 sessions, And I tell them at the very beginning before they start, it's like, here's how the process needs to work. Here's your deliverables to prove that you all went through it. There's a tracking sheet. They put all their team members on it, and the administrator, they're tracking. And there's different ways, including like in Team SharePoint, where I'm told you can even see if someone watched the video. You know, some of it depends on the culture of the company. Do you honor code? Do you trust them? Hopefully you do. So once again, I leave that up to the administrator and the C-level, if it's not the owner,
individual companies,
to decide, because once again, they have different things and different pressing responsibilities on them. You know, if they have to go on site or they're at one of our events, I mean, I say, put together a syllabus, treat it like a semester long class. So they go through that, they submit the tracking sheet, they submit an essay to me, sharing their company's journey through this. I've gotten some essays, John, that have been 2-3 paragraphs, and I've gotten others that have been like 4 pages long. So I review all that. They have to give me a couple other things. And then I congratulate them, and then we get them up. We have a website actually, and I'll let everyone here on this podcast know so you can check it out, even though you are members of ours, but just for curiosity.
What's the website?
It's so www, of course, WCCXT certified.com.
Certified with a D.
With a D.
I will also have this in the show notes, but www.WCCXT certified.com. Love
Absolutely.
this website. You got to go check it out because you guys do so many great things. So how many members of your producers club are certified now?
To date, we have 31. Okay. And I know that there's some that are, closing in on this certification and some that have just started it. So that's, another push for me into 2025 is getting more of them doing it. And I tell them, John, it's like, not only is this a differentiator for you, because IT support can be very commoditized.
And we don't expect, I'm broad stroking, but I don't expect my IT company to be world-class. I just don't. They are technological geniuses, very smart, that you usually don't think they're going to, be, and I know, again, I know I'm broad stroking, but it's like a doctor or a lawyer, or, you just don't expect them to have the hospitality warmth side. So when you can stand out with that and do all those things, it really is a competitive advantage.
I think it's a competitive advantage, not just with their perceived or real competitors in the IT world and their geography, but I say it's also a differentiator in your business community. How many other businesses can you say, can say that they've gone through some kind of like customer experience training certification?
Well, and here's the important thing, that if TMT wasn't world-class to them, they wouldn't want to take your training. And so it also forces TMT to be, it's like having an obese fitness instructor, right? Like, why am I going to take, advice from you, that person? And so just like they are so impressed by the experience TMT gives them that they want to give that to their clients. So they want to know what is happening, at TMT, and you're offering that. And Debbie, another thing you guys do, which I think is so cool at your conferences for your members, is you give out an award, based on this world class and kind of a case study. And I want you to talk about that. But what I've seen is it makes people almost jealous that at first didn't think, it was worth the time. Now they're seeing the results that these companies are getting, and it makes them want to. And the class, this is they can take it whenever. I mean, it's it's a live stream that they can download.
Yeah, there's no start and end
Yeah,
time. I mean, I do recommend to our members, it's like, the weekly, bi-weekly cadence works really well.
yeah,
You don't need to draw it out a year. You have the recordings at your
yeah.
fingertips, right? And also the sooner they do it, the more they can talk it up. But you're referring to an award we started a couple of years ago called the Circle of Excellence. And it is. I mean, when I read those essays, because they have to submit an essay, and a lot of times they don't have to be a certified company yet, but they can be working on it. It's not a requirement. But just to read what these companies, the administrators and the company as a whole have accomplished internally with their team, with their clients, I'm blown away. I actually get jealous at times, John, because they've done
You
so
get
much,
ideas. You're like, why aren't we doing that? Right?
or we haven't done it yet. And,
Right. No, I
but
get the same
everyone
thing
has,
from you guys. Like, why haven't I done this yet?
and that's why it's great. People go through the certification. Of course, they had the benefit of listening to you at multiple producers club meetings and our boot camp, which is our annual client conference. Um, and they're going to town. They're really enjoying it. And they could be the owners of the company that are spearheading this, the COOs, may sometimes they're HR related. Um, I mean,
So,
it's just
so a company just won this year. You sent it to me, and I even think I maybe sent them a congratulations video or something.
I'm sure you did.
Let's give them a shout out. What's the name of that company that won the?
Yeah, it was Byte, like BYTE, not
Yeah,
eating.
yeah, yeah,
Byte Cafe, and they're based out of Indianapolis.
yeah, yeah. They won the Circle of Excellence, which is the Experience Award. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, and they did some incredible things. And they're a member. They're a Producers Club member,
Long time,
certified. Yeah,
long. Gosh,
yeah,
they were members. So I used to be a member of
yes,
TMT,
yeah. You were a
and I
client.
had
Yeah,
my own IT company, and they were members back then too. I mean, so very cool, and it just shows, as a company you evolve, and you get the technical, you get the operations, and some companies I think are very customer experience focused, and some are like, we're the technical
yeah,
gurus,
yeah.
right? They get it done.
But you're
And
helping them not be either or. They could be both.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because we obviously with IT, I need you to be smart and cutting edge. I just don't want you to be the doctor that comes in and rattles off what's wrong with me, but I have no idea what you just said to me. I don't know if I have 3 months to live or I just have the flu that's going around, right? And we got to
let's not
speak.
go there, but yeah.
Yeah, we got to speak at to a layman's level, and IT is hard, right? Because they're we're talking about our terminology that be confusing. You just take it to the nth degree with an IT.
Well, I think when I talk with these members, I kind of do an onboarding getting started for the certification. And I tell them, we hear that people say, oh, this is common sense, this customer experience, the negative cues or the being a great listener or whatever it may be. And it's like, and I tell them, it's like, just because it's common sense doesn't mean that it's adopted and embraced and practiced consistently
Right.
on a daily basis, whether it's work or personal, but in the work environment, and consistency, as we know,
Yeah.
is ultimately, so important to having that good experience. So you
Listen,
don't
the two
have
most common sense things in the world, right? Professionally, personally, is to smile and say thank you, but count the interactions you have on the phone or face to face, and I guarantee you it's less than 30%, and that might be high. So common sense doesn't mean it gets commonly executed.
exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Debbie, oh, sorry.
yeah.
What
No, go ahead.
advice would you give an emerging CXO who's listening that is just starting off? Because you look at this 2.5, 3 years later, and you've done so much, and that's overwhelming. And it's like, oh my God, where do I start? It wasn't easy, And we definitely don't want to make that. So what advice would you give Debbie 3 years ago?
Well, take a deep breath. My biggest aha is that just because I went through the year-long training with the DiJulius Group through the academy, and we're learning a lot, right? It's own fire hose, and we use that term with our members with the information we give them. It's a master's program. You think, okay, I'm going through this academy, and I'm going to get all this stuff implemented at TMT like toot sweet, right? It doesn't happen that way.
No.
And I think setting that expectation with yourself as the emerging CXO, and I'm sure you have a recommended order of doing things because of like your 10 commandments, different things like that. But bite off what you can bite off, chip away. I mean, what we did at TMT, kind of the lowest hanging fruit, and was the never and always, that customer bill of rights.
Yeah.
So our committee, not our committee, gosh, I said that.
Yeah.
Task force.
Yeah.
That was we tackled that and the action statement and the pillars. The never and always got a stamp of approval from Robin and the exec team. And we have every employee now, every team member at TMT has the card. We also have a company
The Credo card. And tell our listeners
well,
what
it's not the full Credo card. It's the never and always card.
Okay.
But we also have a card that's our company concepts.
Okay.
So with our North Star and our brand promise and our mission, right? All different things, because they are different, but they all play together.
Yeah.
And I learned from that. It's like, we just have to chip away.
Small victories, small wins.
Yeah.
Don't go for the big one yet. Let's get some momentum going. And nevers and always are a great place to start because they're easy. They are common sense, right?
Yeah.
Whatever yours may be, never say no or never point or never overshare. Yes, I know that, Debbie. Well, we're guilty of it, right? I've been doing this 25 years and I teach people this, and I overshared yesterday. And it's like, oh my God, like what is wrong with me? And so it's just a constant reminder. So, get some small wins under your belt that people start seeing momentum and results.
Mm-hmm.
And then is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, do that. And you can say set goals for yourself, for the team, for the next things that you want to do. And sometimes it doesn't always work out, or it has to be shelved for a while. But like I had my Q3 goal, and I worked with a couple of my task force members, my TMTX members. We wanted to put together a day in the life, our version of day in the life for TMT. So our Q3 goal was, let's storyboard it. So we have it all storyboarded. We actually got it to our creative team a few weeks ago. And by the end of Q4, we're going to have this beautiful video production day in the life. And it really is, it's not the day in the life like what DiJulius Group or John Robert Spa. It's a little different from that, but it's like, I'm proud to be a part of this team.
Yeah.
And for people who've been with the company for years and years, and people coming on new and reinforcing that about our culture, the good we do. I mean, all those different things.
I love that, Debbie. It's something that you probably have already thought of is, if I'm looking for a job and I hear TMT's hiring and I go to your career page, what we're creating something similar. We're going to have on our career pages, right? Opportunity. Honestly, we're not for everyone. Watch this before you apply. And we don't want it to be like, oh, come and work for us, and we all get it promoted every other month and pay raises, and it's so fun here. We want it to be like, this is hard. No RBF allowed here, and just where it either turns you on or turns you off. But I want it to turn a percentage off, maybe majority of the percentage. I don't want to waste the time interviewing someone who's not right fit, that could be eliminated by them watching that video and saying, you guys are crazy, or, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for, right? So it sounds like that video, it would be a great, thing
It
for,
could be. It
yeah,
may be used for that purpose. I
good.
know, in fact, that in our job postings, one of the things we put in that I would bet not many companies do, and it's one of our 4 core values, is no drama.
Yeah,
How beautiful is that to be
love
able
that.
to work for a company where no drama
Right.
is it's not a
Save
drama
your
is not allowed.
drama for your mama.
And I look at that and other people I know
Love
outside of
that.
TMT, and I feel like so fortunate because we don't have that. We have values of hard work,
Yeah.
and excellence and extreme ownership, which was inspired by Chris Voss. Or no, that wasn't Chris
Negotiator.
Voss. We have so many big speakers.
You have
Jocko,
so many big
we
speakers.
have
I
so many
mean,
big speakers. I mix them all up. But Jocko
I'm not
Willink,
used to being the least known speaker in a lineup, and I always
you're
am at
important,
yours.
John. We're seeing you next month. Where you're important. Um, so,
But I'm
but
not the headliner. You guys bring in some big guns.
we
Yeah.
do.
No,
But
it's great. It's a compliment. It's a
and they all
compliment.
different. And you've been using some of the same people. We've
Yeah.
heard of you
Dave
through.
Rendell, I got from you guys, who was our highest rated speaker last year.
He's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not wearing my pink shoes
I
that he
know.
gave.
I
That
know.
you know.
All right, so Debbie, let's really get to the important question. Is
Uh-oh. But
is Debbie Bush, is that your maiden name? I assume it's your married name.
my married name is Rosenthal.
Oh, okay. All right. So Bush is your maiden name.
No, no.
I'm sorry.
Did I say that?
I
Go
know,
ahead.
maybe I heard it wrong. Okay. So your married
Rosen
name is Bush, your
Bush.
maiden name is Rosenthal.
Yeah.
So I hear no vowels at the end of either. Yet you are all things Italy.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you been to Italy?
I think I'm up to 15.
Oh my
The
gosh.
first 2 I lived there
Oh, wow.
in Florence, Italy, or Firenze as we want to
I
call it.
remember back in the day, and this is a good example of collecting Ford, right? Back in the
Yeah.
day when you must have called right after I spoke, back in Austin, Claudia sends out Debi Bush will be joining our CXA Academy, blah blah blah, and her Ford was all about Italy.
Yeah.
And I just remember that sticking out to me. I'm like, Bush, Italy, usually, and
I know.
every time we've ever talked or that we're friends on social media,
Yeah.
you're going to Italy, you speak Italian.
Yeah.
I think you and Claudia bonded because
She's
Cherry.
Italian
Yeah,
heritage.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even spell
Well,
her
I
last
mean,
name.
you're Italian
I'm
heritage.
Italian
I
too.
mean, go for Julius Caesar. I mean, kind
Right.
of,
It was
so
DiJulius, I think.
probably.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what
Yeah.
is it about Italy and Italian that you're so passionate about?
The people, the history, the magnificence of it. I mean, I lived in the heart of the Renaissance in Florence. I
Yeah,
mean, it gives you such a different perspective. Of course, the food.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you got to have the food.
And so, did you not? Did you become so passionate about Italy and Italian heritages after you lived there, or did you have that before?
I had never been there before I went for my junior year of college,
Okay,
way back when. I did have 4 years of Latin in high school.
okay. But it
So,
was really going there that hooked you.
yeah, that was, I mean, 9 months there. Well, it was life changing. It was transforming for me. 2 of my 3 kids have an Italian first or middle name.
Oh, how funny.
I have a Fiat.
Ah.
I have an Italian breed dog named Enzo. I mean, my daughter, so I'll give her a shout out. She would tell her friends and still does, I just tell them you're Italian. It's a lot easier than
Yeah,
explaining that you're
right.
totally obsessed with.
She's born again Italian, if anything else, right?
I mean, if I could get that Italian citizenship, I mean, Claudia should look into it.
Yeah.
I would get that dual citizenship, but
So I
I
believe your encore career,
ancestry.com. Yeah.
has got to be something with giving tours or being an advisor. Because I know me and Claudia are talking about, going for a month in the near
Oh,
future. And I know you're the first resource she is going to for that.
well, I have a great tour guide for Tuscany. And so if you want that, I'm always happy to talk. My one and only marathon that I walked because I don't run
Was in Rome.
was in Rome.
You have a picture of it behind you,
Yeah.
and the great thing about if you've heard us speak is collecting forward when you're on a Zoom, and I know most of you are just listening to this, but I'm seeing Debi and I'm seeing all these decathlon
Not decathlon.
they're ribbons of races, I assume.
Yeah.
A marathon. There's a picture of her running in the marathon, or competing in the marathon in Rome, Italy. There's her CXEA degree behind her. So there's just so many great things forward that you can capture when you're talking to someone via Zoom that you can use to build that rapport.
And it's very genuine too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I know that when I speak with, whether it was Claudia or I speak with one of our members and their last name looks pretty Italian, I say to them, north or south, not meaning in the US.
Right.
It's like northern.
Well, they
southern.
know. She knows. I wouldn't know that.
And then it's that icebreaker.
Yeah.
But it's very genuine.
100%. And Ford has to be genuine. You're 100% right. I love this, Debi.
So anything else you need to know? I mean, Florence is at the top of my list.
Yeah.
I finally made
Statue of David.
Statue. I mean, that was done in the late 1400s.
Yeah.
And the cathedrals and the buildings. I mean, you look at this stuff. The Pantheon in Rome, built 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Still intact. No fancy machinery, technology to do it. And then we have stuff here in the US, I think we don't appreciate enough, other cultures, or it used to be. I mean, I'm not saying the ugly American, but it's just like you appreciate other cultures and companies. Not everyone's the same, but you can certainly learn for it. And things, architects of today are drawing on what was done 1,000 years ago.
Well, here's my take, Debi. I only went once, about 20 years ago, and we did all the touristy things. We did Rome and the Vatican and everything, and then we ran over to Florence and did that, and then I think we went to a winery in Tuscany, but it was crazy. It was waiting in lines. It was tours, and now when I go back, I want to be more in a rural, dirt road for, weeks and feel what it's like to live, grow up, or, and not just do the touristy things, but, communicate with neighbors and, and do more of what it is to be a native of these. So when it's time, I'm going to come to you for that because I know you know all that.
I mean, we could get a timeshare going over there.
There you go. There you go. I am talking to Debi Bush, CXO of Technology Marketing Toolkit. Debi, you are a wealth of knowledge. So proud of the relationship we have with TMT and yourself, and just watching you take our stuff and just take it to new heights and new thought, new ways that we didn't even think of. So thank you so much for the partnership, the passion, and all that you do to raise the level of the client experience.
Well, thank you, John, for asking me to have this conversation with you, and I owe a lot of the passion to you as well, and your team for creating a great experience for me.
Okay, Revolutionaries, we'll be right back after this.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give the Customer Service Revolution podcast a thumbs up and write us a review. To hear more episodes, subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening and for being part of the customer service revolution.